Let the Commons know that the Lords Commissioners desire their immediate attendance in this House to hear the Commission read.
Close the door!
We're out.
Black Rod, open the door!
Black Rod!
Mr. Speaker, the Lords, who are authorised by virtue of Her Majesty's Commission to declare her royal assent to acts passed by both Houses and to declare the prorogation of Parliament, desire the presence of this Honourable House in the House of Peers.
We shall look as good as ties. You do.
My Lords and members of the House of Commons, Her Majesty, not thinking fit to be personally present here at this time, has been pleased to cause a commission to be issued under the Great Seal and thereby given her royal assent to diverse acts which have been agreed upon by both Houses of Parliament, the titles whereof are particularly mentioned, and by the said commission has commanded us to declare and notify her royal assent to the said several acts in the presence of you, the Lords and Commons, assembled for that purpose, and has also assigned to us and other Lords directed full power and authority in Her Majesty's name to prorogue this Parliament, which commission you will now hear read.
Elizabeth II, by the grace of God of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of our other realms and territories, Queen, Head of the Commonwealth, Defender of the Faith, to our right trusty and right well-beloved, the Lords spiritual and temporal, and to our trusty and well-beloved, the knights, citizens and burgesses of the House of Commons in this present Parliament assembled, greeting. For as much as in our said Parliament diverse acts have been agreed upon by you, our loving subjects, the Lords spiritual and temporal, and the Commons, the short titles of which are set forth in the schedule hereto, but the said acts are not of force and effect in the law without our royal assent. And forasmuch as we cannot at this time be present in the higher house of our said Parliament, being the accustomed place for giving our royal assent to such acts as have been agreed upon by you, our said subjects, the Lords and Commons, we have therefore caused these our letters patent to be made, and have signed them, and by them do give our royal assent to the said acts, willing that the said acts shall be of the same strength, force and effect as if we had been personally present in the said higher house, and had publicly, and in the presence of you all, assented to the same. Commanding also our well-beloved and faithful counsellor, Elizabeth Mary Truss, Chancellor of Great Britain, to seal these our letters with the great seal of our realm, and also commanding the most reverend Father in God, our faithful counsellor, Justin Portal, Archbishop of Canterbury, Primate of all England and Metropolitan. Our well-beloved and faithful counsellors, Elizabeth Mary Truss, Chancellor of Great Britain, Peter Norman, Lord Fowler, Lord Speaker, Natalie Jessica, Baroness Evans of Bowes Park, Lord Privy Seal, James Arthur David, Lord Hope of Craighead, Richard Mark, Lord Newby, Angela Evans, Baroness Smith of Basildon, or any three or more of them, to declare this our royal assent in the said higher house, in the presence of you, the said Lords and Commons, and the clerk of our parliaments to endorse the said acts in our name as is requisite, and to record these our letters patent, and the said acts in the manner accustomed. And we do declare that after this our royal assent, given and declared as is aforesaid, then and immediately the said act shall be taken and accepted as good and perfect acts of Parliament, and be put in due execution accordingly. And whereas we did lately, for diverse, difficult and pressing affairs concerning us, the state and defence of our United Kingdom and Church, ordain this our present Parliament to begin and be holden at our city of Westminster, the 18th day of May in the 64th year of our reign, on which day our said Parliament was begun and holden, and is there now holden, know ye, that for certain pressing causes and considerations, us especially moving, we have thought fit to prorogue our said Parliament. We therefore, confiding very much in the fidelity, prudence and circumspection of you, our commissioners aforesaid, have by the advice and consent of our council assigned you our commissioners, giving to you, or any three or more of you, by virtue of these presents, full power and authority in our name, to prorogue and continue our present Parliament at our city of Westminster aforesaid, from Thursday the 27th day of April, or Friday the 28th day of April, until and unto Tuesday the 2nd day of May, there then to be holden. And we command you that you diligently attend the premises and effectually fulfil them in manner aforesaid. We also strictly command all and singular, our archbishops, bishops, lords, baronets, knights, citizens and burgesses, and all others whom it concerns, to meet at our said Parliament by virtue of these presents, that they observe, obey, and assist you in executing the premises as they ought to do. In witness whereof, we have caused these our letters to be made patent, witness ourselves at Westminster, the 27th day of April, in the 66th year of our reign, by the Queen herself, signed with her own hand.
In obedience to Her Majesty's commands, and by virtue of the commission which has been now read, we do declare and notify to you, the Lords Spiritual and Temporal and Commons in Parliament assembled, that Her Majesty has given her royal assent to the acts in the commission mentioned, and the clerks are required to pass the same in the usual form and words.
Finance Act.
La Reine remercie ses bons sujets, accepte leur bénévolence et ainsi le vote.
Parking Places Variation of Charges Act.
La Reine le vote.
Broadcasting Radio Multiplex Services Act.
La Reine le vote.
Homelessness Reduction Act.
La Reine le vote.
Intellectual Property Unjustified Threats Act.
La Reine le vote.
National Citizen Services Act.
La Reine le vote.
Children and Social Work Act.
La Reine le vote.
Pension Schemes Act.
La Reine le vote.
Preventing and Combating Violence Against Women and Domestic Violence Ratification of Convention Act.
La Reine le vote.
Technical and Further Education Act.
La Reine le vote.
Neighbourhood Planning Act.
La Reine le vote.
Bus Services Act.
La Reine le vote.
Criminal Finances Act.
La Reine le vote.
Health Service Medical Supplies Costs Act.
La Reine le vote.
Northern Ireland Ministerial Appointments and Regional Rates Act.
La Reine le vote.
Local Audit Public Access to Documents Act.
La Reine le vote.
Merchant Shipping Homosexual Conduct Act.
La Reine le vote.
Guardianship Missing Persons Act.
La Reine le vote.
Farriers Registration Act.
La Reine le vote.
Higher Education and Research Act.
La Reine le vote.
Digital Economy Act.
La Reine le vote.
Faversham Oyster Fishery Company Act.
La Reine le vote.
My Lords and members of the House of Commons, we are commanded to deliver to you Her Majesty's speech in Her Majesty's own words. My Lords and members of the House of Commons, my government has pursued a programme that has delivered stability, security and strong leadership and begun the task of making Britain a country that works for everyone. My ministers have brought forward measures to build a stronger economy, a fairer society and a more united nation, while also acting to counter threats to national security and to build a more outward-looking global Britain. The defence of the realm has remained an utmost priority for my government. Legislation was passed to ensure that law enforcement, security and intelligence agencies have the necessary powers to disrupt terrorist attacks within a framework of robust oversight. My government has continued with a programme to reform the criminal justice system. New legislation passed in this session will help to make the police and fire service still more capable, efficient and locally accountable. Building on the success of last year's London Anti-Corruption Summit, legislation was introduced to strengthen powers to tackle money laundering, seize criminal assets, and combat terrorist financing. To build a stronger economy, my government has taken forward a range of measures as part of its plan for a stronger Britain, so the country is well placed to exploit new opportunities in the global economy and to ensure the benefits are spread throughout the entire country. To ensure that the United Kingdom remains a leader in developing new technologies, draft legislation was published setting out a new framework to support the growing commercial spaceflight industry. To foster innovation and to support the creative industries, legislation was enacted to reform the law on intellectual property. My ministers have continued to prioritise investment in infrastructure projects to ensure that the economy and local communities can continue to grow and prosper. Legislation has been passed to support the building of a high-speed railway from London to Birmingham and to allow for better local bus services in England. My government has also legislated to ensure that all households can access fast broadband and allow new telecommunications infrastructure to be rolled out across the nation. Legislation has been passed to give communities more control over housing developments in their area. To build a fairer society, my government has brought forward measures to protect the most vulnerable and to drive greater social reform so that every child has the chance to make the most of their talents. To this end, legislation has been passed to enable a world-class technical education system that will provide opportunities for all young people. Legislation has been passed to improve children's social care in England and to put the National Citizen Service on a permanent footing. My government also supported legislation to tackle the scourge of homelessness and domestic violence. Provision has been made to help the lowest income families save for the future with a new Help to Save scheme, to help young people save for the long term with a lifetime ISA, and to protect pension schemes. In recognition of the important role charities play, legislation has been enacted to help charities and community amateur sports clubs by simplifying the Gift Aid Small Donation Scheme. A new Act will enable the National Health Service and the taxpayer to secure better value for money from the growing cost of medicines. To build a more united nation, my government has made it a priority to strengthen the union between all parts of the United Kingdom. Legislation was passed to establish a long-term devolution settlement in Wales, and in England, significant new powers have been devolved to directly elected mayors. My government has taken steps to enable the resumption of devolved government in Northern Ireland when an agreement is reached between political parties to form an executive. To deliver the result of the 2016 referendum, Parliament approved legislation allowing the United Kingdom formally to signal its intent to withdraw from the European Union. My government has worked to ensure that a global Britain plays a leading role in world affairs and provided assistance to British citizens overseas. In order to bolster the United Kingdom's role in developing countries, new legislation will allow further investment to create more jobs and boost economic growth in the poorest countries in Africa and South Asia. Legislation was also enacted to protect cultural property in times of war. The Duke of Edinburgh and I were pleased to welcome His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Colombia in November, strengthening the United Kingdom's friendship with an important partner in Latin America. My ministers have established a close relationship with the new administration in the United States. My government has continued to play a leading role in the global coalition against Daesh and deployed British troops in Estonia and Poland as part of NATO's enhanced forward presence while maintaining the European Union consensus in favour of sanctions against Russia. My ministers have pursued a campaign against modern slavery and helped to secure pledges of £4.6 billion for the humanitarian crisis in Syria during a conference in Brussels in April. Members of the House of Commons, I thank you for the provisions which you have made for the work and dignity of the Crown and the public services. My Lords and members of the House of Commons, I pray that the blessing of Almighty God may rest upon your councils. My Lords and members of the House of Commons, by virtue of Her Majesty's commission, which has been now read, we do, in Her Majesty's name and in obedience to Her Majesty's commands, prorogue this Parliament to the 2nd day of May, to be then here holden, and this Parliament is accordingly prorogued to Tuesday, the 2nd day of May.
I have to acquaint the House that the House has been to the House of Peers, where a commission under the Great Seal was read, authorising the royal assent to the following acts: Finance Act 2017, Parking Places, Variation of Charges Act 2017, Broadcasting Radio Multiplex Services Act 2017, Homelessness Reduction Act 2017, Intellectual Property Unjustified Threats Act 2017, National Citizen Service Act 2017, Children and Social Work Act 2017, Pension Schemes Act 2017, Preventing and Combating Violence Against Women and Domestic Violence, Ratification of Convention Act 2017. Technical and Further Education Act 2017. Neighbourhood Planning Act 2017. Bus Services Act 2017. Criminal Finances Act 2017. Health Service Medical Supplies Costs Act 2017. Northern Ireland Ministerial Appointments and Regional Rates Act 2017. Local Audit Public Access to Documents Act 2017. Merchant Shipping Homosexual Conduct Act 2017. Guardianship Missing Persons Act 2017. Farriers Registration Act 2017. Higher Education and Research Act 2017. Digital Economy Act 2017. Faversham Oyster Fishery Company Act 2017. I have further to acquaint the House that the Leader of the House of Lords, one of the Lords Commissioners, delivered Her Majesty's most gracious speech to both Houses of Parliament in pursuance of Her Majesty's command. For greater accuracy, I have obtained a copy and also directed that the terms of the speech be printed in the Journal of this House. Copies are being made available in the Vote Office. The Commission was also for proroguing this present Parliament, and the Leader of the House of Lords said, "My Lords and members of the House of Commons, by virtue of Her Majesty's Commission, which has been now read, we do, in Her Majesty's name, and in obedience to Her Majesty's commands, prorogue this Parliament to Tuesday, the 2nd day of May, to be then here holden, and this Parliament is accordingly prorogued to Tuesday, the 2nd day of May." Order, order.